What's up, Game Crashers fans? Rob James here with Max Schaefer, co-founder and CEO of Runic Games and the developers of Torchlight 2 for the PC and Mac.
Mac port coming soon after.
And we just got finished playing the game. And Max, why don't you explain a little bit what Torchlight is for people out there who may not know what the game is?
Okay, Torchlight is an action RPG in the style of a Diablo. You pilot a little guy around a fantasy world, killing monsters and finding cool loot, going on quests, leveling up, learning skills, and basically adventuring. And Torchlight 2 introduces multiplayer to the equation, so now you can do this all with your friends. And we offer multiplayer via the internet or through a LAN support.
How many people are going to be able to play in LAN and internet support across the PC platform?
Right, we haven't set a specific maximum yet per game, but it's going to be between 6 and 8 probably. I find it's most fun with between 2 and 4 guys. But I should also say that we're releasing the modding tools with the game so that you can create your own custom experiences, and you'll be able to set the maximum number of players at whatever you want.
In the original game, there was a single town. There were 3 specific classes, and you go through the dungeon. They were random dungeons. What has changed what have you brought in Torchlight 2 that's going to expound upon the foundations of the first game?
Sure, we are making 4 all-new player classes for Torchlight 2. So none of the first 3 are playable. However, those will appear in the game as NPCs. So it's still part of the same lore and still part of the same world. But 4 all-new character classes. 2 of them we've announced previously. They're the Railman and the Outlander. The one that we're announcing here at the show is the Berserker, who is a sort of a frenzied melee attacker who uses dual-wielded weapons and channels animal spirits and stuff. He's a lot of fun to play. And the 4th one is still secret class. So, but the other difference is that we're in a much bigger world now. Now we're going across the wilderness, through the terrain, finding new cities and new dungeons all over the place. So the world is just much, much bigger than it was in Torchlight 1.
And how many different environments or different worlds in Torchlight 2 will you be traversing?
So it's basically broken down into 3 major acts that have their own hub cities and their own set of dungeons and terrain. And then there's a final act that doesn't have its own city, but is its own sort of weird, twisted area that you'll finish the game in.
Are you guys discussing the storyline at all for Torchlight 2 at the current time?
Well, the story is one of those things that's in flux until the last minute, but I will say that we've actually hired a writer this time, so the story will actually have some coherence and some interest to it with any luck. Another thing that we didn't talk about before that I'd like to point out is that we went to Slovakia after Gamescom last year and had their symphony orchestra record hours of music for Torchlight. So we've got all this great new music that I can't wait for people to hear.
Was there any part of the classes that have been announced so far, the ones that are in development, that you drew from people who made interesting mods or classes in the first game?
I don't think really. What we really look for with the character classes is that it's something new that people haven't seen before, but that it's identifiable and you can kind of get an intuitive sense of what they do. So we do play upon kind of traditional fantasy archetypes, but we put a serious twist on it so that it's not like anything you've played before. So we introduce a little bit of a steampunk vibe here and there. We actually use some crude firearms, and we really try to vary the play up a lot within each character class. But our goal is that it's new and interesting, but you kind of have an intuitive sense of what they do. So like the Berserker just goes nuts with melee, and the Outlander is sort of a ranged attacker, and so we just want to keep it novel but familiar.
One of the coolest things about actually getting the opportunity to play the game, LAN play here with you, is that when you were talking about all the details of the game, you're just lighting up about the game as you're playing it, which I mean, it's an awesome thing, and it pumped me up to see it too. And I'm hoping it's pumping people up out there who are watching this video. What would you say to the person watching this video, as working on it, as the co-owner of the company, is the coolest element to Torchlight 2?
Oh, the coolest element is obviously you play with your friends now. You know, you used to, a lot of people loved Torchlight, and but it was always a solitary experience. You know, you weren't doing it with your friends, and now you can do it with your friends, and you can, you know, talk about your adventures, and it just adds a whole new element to it. The other thing is that right off the bat, you're wandering through the wilderness, and it's raining on you, and you realize, okay, this is completely different now. It's a whole bigger, better ball game than it was before. But as a developer, what really gets me pumped up, and you saw the enthusiasm here, is just what the guys at the office are doing. You know, they get me enthused just by the cool new things that they put into the game every day. I find things here doing demos for the press that I've never seen before, and so I get a little rush when I find it, just like a game player would. Yeah. So yeah, we're having a great time making this. We can't wait for it to get out for everyone to see.
Well, I mean, I'm really completely out of questions. Is there anything that I missed? Is anything that you feel like we should know, or is that it?
Sure. No, I can say that it is going to come out this year, and not late this year.
Of course, yes. When is the game coming out? I mean, professionalism, really. It's right on the ball.
And I do actually have the stock answer that we don't have a specific date, because even if I had a date in mind, it wouldn't be correct, because we're notoriously bad at estimating dates. But it is, we're aiming for a fall-ish release. We're just going to wait. We're going to wait till it's really right and ready for everyone to play, and as bug-free as possible. So we don't set a particular date, but it is coming soon. It's right around the corner. For us as developers, it's almost panicking time because it's right around the corner. But it's coming, and it's coming along great. And like I say, I just can't wait for it to get out there.
Well, we hope you guys have a great rest of E3 and a highly, highly anticipated game, Torchlight 2. Max Schaefer, thank you so much for talking with us for a little bit. Stick around with our coverage here at GameCrashers.net, and until then, thanks for watching.